Hey, thank you for coming to check out my free online SMP lessons. Before you jump into this lesson, go down into the description. I've got a Facebook group, SMP Growth Community. It's all about positive growth. It's where I'll be giving out tips and tricks and even do live lessons where you can come and join and ask questions. So before you jump into this lesson, get down in the description, join the group, and thanks again for checking out these lessons that I've put up for you. So we're going to quickly talk about the layers of skin. Where do we want our needle to be? Where do we want to implant the pigment into the skin? So we're going to draw a quick diagram and talk about it. Okay? We've got 3 layers to our skin. We've got the top layer, middle layer, bottom layer. Top layer, the epidermis. I'm going to put an E for this one. We've got the dermis and we've got the hypodermis. Okay? If we put our pigment or ink into the epidermis, this is a layer of skin. This is our dead skin. This is our flaky skin. Okay? So if we pop our impressions into here, what's going to happen? In about 4 weeks' time, they're going to be completely gone. Okay? So they'll be gone. In fact, even when your client comes back to this next session, a lot of that work will be gone. So this is why, if you're struggling with retention to your impressions, this will be why, because you're not using enough pressure, you're only hitting this top layer, okay? The dermis, this is where we want to be, okay? You can call this the sweet spot. This is where we want all our impressions to be, okay? The second layer of skin. If our impressions go in here, it's the best place for them. They're going to keep the structure and they're going to stay in our skin, okay? So our immune system struggles to take them out when they're in this layer of skin. So they won't fade as easily, they're not going to flake away. They'll keep the structure for a long time, they'll keep the colour for a long time. This is exactly where we want to be. People say this is about 1.5 to 2 millimeters into the skin, okay? We don't know, it's all by feel. And that's what we're coming to. We're going to, on our next lesson, is getting the right depth, right pressure, right feel, okay? The hypodermis, this is where we don't want to be, okay? So, if we implant our impressions into the hypodermis, this is where we create blowouts, okay? This is where migration will happen. So, instantly, once we create these dots and impressions into the hypodermis, it's too deep. What will happen is they'll start to migrate instantly. You'll see them sort of get a shadowy around your impressions, yeah? Over time, what's going to happen with these is they're going to start migrating and getting bigger, okay? They'll even turn a bluey, greeny tone. Sometimes that can happen instantly, so that's where we don't want to be, okay? So, what you've probably heard as well as with SMP is we don't go as deep as a tattoo, okay? This was wrong, okay? With every tattoo, we want to be going to the dermis, whether that's on your arm, whether it's on your leg. We need to be hitting the dermis, okay? The same applies for the head. The only difference being is, imagine this is your arm, the depth of the skin, yeah? If it was your head, it's going to be thinner. So, we've got our epidermis, our dermis, and our hypodermis. But our needle's not going to have to travel as far as if it was going into if this is our arm, and this is our scalp. Okay? The needle doesn't have to travel as far. So, although some people say it doesn't go as deep as a tattoo, it's wrong. Our needle doesn't go as deep as if it was going into the arm, but it does go into the exact same layer of skin. If it didn't, if we put this into the epidermis and wasn't going as deep as a traditional tattoo, it wouldn't exist after 4 weeks, okay? So another thing to keep in mind is, as we come to the front of the scalp, the skin gets thinner. So if we draw another diagram underneath, and imagine this is the crown, and this is the front of the head, okay? It's going to get, our layers go like this, yeah? So whereas our needle will have to go, so we've got our epidermis, our dermis, our hypodermis. Yeah, this is our sweet bit. So our don't. And this is too flaky, we don't want to be in there. But if we look, if we put our needle in here, it's got to travel further into the dermis. Where the skin gets thinner, it doesn't have to travel as far as we get to the front of the scalp. So keep in mind, as we work closer and closer to the front of the scalp, less pressure. Okay? So just to wrap that up, remember, the dermis is our sweet spot. This is where we're aiming all the time. On the scalp, the dermis, the sweet spot, isn't as deep as what it would be on your arm or your leg. So that's why we're using less pressure to get to that area. And when we're moving from the crown to the front of the head, less pressure again. Okay, we want to ease off our pressure as we get to those thinner layers of skin. Remembering, we want the dermis every time. Okay, so if we keep this consistent, if we kept our pressure consistent, working from the crown to the front, we'd end up into the hypodermis. We don't want that. Okay, little diagram to illustrate that.